We are now less than a month away from the release of F1 Manager 2022, and there's one question that is asked more than any other. Can we make our own custom teams in the game? It's a valid question. F1 22 has the My Team mode where you create the grid's 11th team, so F1 Manager could have something similar, right? Sadly no. Well, not yet anyway. I'm Mark from RacingGames, and today I want to talk about should custom teams be in F1 Manager 2022? First, let's talk about why custom teams won't be in F1 Manager 2022. This is arguably the most commonly asked question about the game, but it has one of the simplest answers. The long and short of it is this is a licensed game, with licensed teams, drivers, mechanics and other staff members. Frontier Developments have worked hard to make the game as authentic as possible, and therefore allowing players to create a custom team would ruin the authenticity Frontier are aiming for. Yes, F1 22 allows players to create custom teams, but the number of people represented in the game is far fewer. In fact, only F1 and F2 drivers are represented in F1 22, plus a select number of icons of course. F1 Manager 2022 has the entire roster of F1 drivers, plus each and every F1 team's frontline staff, plus all the F2 drivers, F3 drivers, and of course the F1 reserve drivers too. The aim of F1 Manager is, in the words of Frontier themselves, to be an authentic management simulation of the current world of F1. This is why custom teams will not be available in F1 Manager 2022. The emphasis on the word current means they want to match as closely as possible the 2022 F1 season. However, it has also been hinted that this may change from next year's release onwards should the community request it enough. So F1 Manager 2023 may include a game mode with custom teams. So that's the reason out of the way, but let's just move that to one side for a bit and talk about whether custom teams should even be in the game. Before we move on, have you subscribed to RacingGames yet? Just one click and you're on the RacingGames grid. Oh, and hit that notification bell too so you never miss an upload. Alright, on with the video. Being able to create and run your own F1 team is an exciting possibility, especially one in your own name. Sadly, we're not all Bruce McLaren, Jack Brabham, Eddie Jordan, or maybe soon Mario Andretti, so for many of us the dream is dead. But being able to create a custom team in a video game is the next best thing. F1 22 puts you in the boots of McLaren and Brabham, running the team whilst also getting behind the wheel. But what about those who want to be an Eddie Jordan? Right now, the closest we can get to running an F1 team in a video game is Motorsport Manager. We've made our love of Motorsport Manager very well known in the past, but it does have its drawbacks. The game doesn't have any licensed racing championships, meaning there are teams that are meant to represent real-life F1 teams and drivers that resemble real-life F1 drivers, but for the most part, it's all kept very generic. Motorsport Manager does have an active modding community that constantly adds the latest F1 grid to the game, but that's only really to the benefit of those who wish to add mods. For those who don't, it's the same teams in the same championships, with the only difference being the team the players choose to manage. So yes, you can customize an F1 team in the game to an extent, but really not to the levels most players want. So having a fully licensed F1 management game with the ability to create your own team as well would be very popular, so why hasn't it been done before? We're taking a big guess here, but we would say the license is the biggest issue. F1 is a valuable license to obtain. There would be very strict regulations as to what a licensed F1 game could contain, and perhaps that license prevents any custom teams from being added. Future license renewals might be more relaxed, especially if F1 Manager 2022 sells well, but considering this is Frontier's first entry in the F1 Manager series, I'd wager they're playing it safe, and that's fair enough in our opinion.
F1 Manager 2022.
So if F1 Manager 2022 is designed to mirror the real-life 2022 season, then surely its sequels will want to match their respective seasons too. Then won't this mean no custom teams still? Well, maybe. Right now we think Frontier are doing the right thing, building a game, and ultimately game franchise, that gives the F1 series a run for its money when it comes to representing Formula 1, but coming at it from a different angle with the management aspect. Adding the ability to create custom teams would detract from this, even if Frontier went the same route as Codemasters by having the custom team take the 11th spot on the grid. So is the ability to create a custom team in F1 Manager even necessary? Honestly, not having the ability to create a custom team won't spoil F1 Manager 2022. Yes, RacingGames Racing will have to wait at least another year before joining F1, and yes, that name is trademark pending, but we can still join Williams and turn them from backmarkers to podium chasers. We can help Vettel or Alonso to another world championship with Aston Martin and Alpine respectively. We can even take over Red Bull and teach Sergio Perez how to successfully stay ahead at the end of a virtual safety car. My point here is by taking charge of an existing team, we can still write our own F1 stories. The only real differences are the paint colour on the car and the name above the door. Everything else pretty much is custom. George Russell could end up driving for your Ferrari team. Oscar Piastri could become Lando Norris's teammate in your version of McLaren, and you could even bring Lewis Hamilton to Red Bull to partner Max Verstappen. Let's all just imagine that for a second, and then use some mental bleach to erase that thought. By being able to hire and fire mechanics, designers and pit crews, you can still mould any team on the grid into your image. So does it really matter that the team isn't technically created by you? Let us know what you think in the comments. For now though, thanks for watching. I've been Mark from RacingGames. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date with all things F1 Manager 2022. And now I'm off to make a list of every Red Bull aerodynamic engineer I want to poach when I take charge of Alfa Romeo. I mean, unless they're using some kind of witchcraft, it has to be the engineers making that car go so fast.